So I love musicals, and I love them for the same reason that I love progressive rock. Their use and reuse of themes throughout the entire runtime of an album. Their ability to build up a song, to find this great crescendo. And so when I came to La La Land, I love Sebastian's just passion for jazz, because I fully connected with his character. And I connected to it for the same reasons that he felt like jazz was dying. At least I felt a kinship with him within my love for progressive rock. When I came to this movie, I fell in love with it, and I particularly fell in love with the soundtrack. So even though I was supposed to be listening to other music in preparation for their reviews, I have not been able to listen to anything else outside of the La La Land soundtrack, so I figured I'm going to talk about it. The La La Land soundtrack. So most of the songs on here are written and composed by Justin Hurwitz, and this is my first real dive into his music. The singing styles of Emma Stone and Ryan Gosling are just perfect for this album because they feel unpolished and at certain parts a little bit unsure of themselves, but again, that really adds to the magic of this and adds to the beauty of this. So I want to talk through some of these songs. So opens up with Another Day of Sun, and this is a really great way of opening up the soundtrack because it introduces us to my favorite theme on the album. And this is the theme that comes through in a number of different songs. It's the one that kind of adds the bridge of Someone in the Crowd being the second song. And Someone in a Crowd is just a fantastic journey of music here. It starts off with that kind of unsure whether or not we're going to go out, and then with the final decision that we're going to go out, that's when the fun happens, and that's with the revisiting of the theme that we heard from Another Day in the Sun. When we finally get out on the town, that's when the song starts to break down a little bit, and we realize, okay, our expectations weren't quite met when we came out, and that music is definitely mirrored on here. I like where it builds down and becomes pretty quiet at times and then gets built up again within that final crescendo at the end, and I felt like that was a really great way of kind of constructing a song within this soundtrack. The third song being Maya's and Sebastian's theme. This theme is one that will be kind of revisited a lot as well. This is kind of the main theme here on the album. This is their ode to love. Like, this piece here is kind of what cues them to remind each other of one another. And my favorite time that it's revisited is actually within the planetarium, the purely instrumental planetarium, and that whimsicalness where it's turned into almost a waltz, I thought was just fantastic. And it's funny because the visuals of this is exactly what I visualize when I think of the Yes song, Turn of the Century. I love how intimate the planetarium piece is. It's very, very quiet and a little bit dark, but also very humble. Like, when they finally realize that, yes, this is both what they want, that's when it just kind of comes to a flourish and comes to a grand plateau, and it is just a plethora of music. The other main theme, and this is probably the last one, is the City of Stars, and this piece alone is a really beautiful sentiment. Like, within the City of Stars, the first time that you hear this, and this was sung by Ryan Gosling, it's him hoping that things are going to work out, right? Like, this is him kind of saying out to the city, these are my dreams, and I'm really hoping that they come true, and I'm not just dreaming again. The one piece in particular is this just another dream that isn't going to come true? Just within that one statement, we hear so much about his character, as well as within the music itself. So on the one hand, it also mirrors everything that he wants, not only within Maya, but also within his career and his music. Like, he's really hoping to get this jazz club started up. He's really hoping that his music can touch other people like it's touching him. And he's really hoping to just get jazz back into what he believes jazz is. And he's hoping that it's not just another dream, like it's him just hoping. And it's a hopeful song. When we hear this being echoed again on the 9th track of City of Stars, where Emma Stone comes in and they both kind of say, you know, everybody's just looking for love. I know this is a concept that has been covered countless times, but I do like how humble and how intimate and how personal it's presented here.
I don't care if I know just where I will go, 'cause all that I need's this crazy feeling I got tapped out of my heart.
The rest of the songs on here are mainly just either montages, and I love the use of jazz on here. And again, I do love jazz. I love jazz for the same reasons that I love progressive rock. I love how experimental it is. I love how it's always shifting and changing. I guess that's why I really love this soundtrack, because it takes the two things that I love about progressive rock, which is the experimental side of things, the exploration of music, the always constructing and recreation and just seeing what music can do, as well as within a structure of a soundtrack being the reuse of themes and those plateaus and those build-ups and those resolutions, and it's amalgamated perfectly onto this. So it's really no wonder why I love this soundtrack as much as I do. Start a Fire, which is that John Legend song, and I love how different this song is compared to all the other ones, and that's the point, right? Like, this is kind of where Sebastian sells himself out to John Legend's character, just playing very accessible, very poppy music. Even when Emma Stone's character of Maya questions him about it, it's like, do you even like the music that you're playing? And his response was, it doesn't matter if I like it or not, what matters is I'm getting paid. And I love how almost shallow this song is for that point, because it really drives it home. The other song that I want to talk about, and one that is a little bit different than all the other ones, is The Audition, The Fools Who Dream. When I first heard it, reminded me so much of the Rainbow Connection from the Muppets.
Someday we'll find it, the rainbow connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me.
It actually makes a lot of sense why it reminds me of it. It has the same kind of chord progression, it has the same kind of root within it, it's got the same ebb and flow within the music. It starts off soft and starts to build until we come into that really big crescendo. But it's also the sentiment. The Rainbow Connection is an ode to all the dreamers and those courageous enough to go for their dreams and just to go for it. And that is really what this song is, the Fools Who Dream. You know, it takes a little bit of optimism and it takes a lot of naivety for those to go for their dreams. And I think this is kind of applauding those who go for it.
And here's to the fools who dream, crazy as they may seem.
And finally, the last one that I want to talk about is the epilogue, the final track on this album. This is the amalgamation of all the tracks that came before it. All of the themes that had led up to this point come into fruition and really blossom into this beautiful track. And I am left speechless at the end. The ending is finally that, yeah, we're here, this is how it is. We have our dreams, and for the most part they came true, but at what price? And I really enjoyed that sentiment, and you know, it crushes me every single time, and I go straight back to the beginning after I listen to this track. And this is just analyzing the music. I mean, I could probably, you know, sit down and really write about this, but this video is more of me gushing about the music than any kind of critical analysis. I touched upon a little bit here and there, but it wasn't quite that mode. And actually, I'll go on the record and say that the La La Land soundtrack is a masterpiece.
We're not worthy! We're not worthy!
And if you've been watching my videos or been following me for quite some time, you'll know I don't really give that rating to very many albums, or at least any new albums. So to say that is quite the mouthful. I find myself in each of the characters on this, and I think at the end of the day, that's why it resonates with me so much, because I can identify myself in them. So anyway, if you're a fan of soundtracks, if you love jazz, if you love soundtracks, if you love musicals, this is one that you need to check out. And if you have already checked out, let me know what your thoughts are. And also let me know what your favorite soundtrack is, at least in terms of musicals. Let me know by commenting below. Thank you guys so much for watching. You guys are definitely the best. And until next time, notes out.